going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is a Phoenix Down 114.1, and we are continuing our playthrough of Yakuza 5. Today I have with me Matt.
Hello.
And yeah, so it's been 2 weeks, and we were going to play 2 sections of Yakuza, and yeah, we only ended up playing 1 section. Yakuza continuing the trend of being very long games, and life being a lot of stuff.
Yep.
A lot of stuff happened this week for me.
Yeah, a lot of life has happened, that's for sure.
Yeah. So,
and then this chapter, for some reason, felt twice as long as the first one.
It definitely was. And the problem is not a lot friggin' happened in it.
Yeah.
Until like the last 30 minutes of the game. Or last 30 minutes of this section. But we finished up Kiryu's section of the game. I'm sure we'll come back to him eventually. But we're moving on to our next protagonist, which is a familiar face. Taiga. Is it Taiga Sajima?
Taiga.
Taiga
Ni.
Taiga Ni. Listen to you. Bob Saget over here. But, he was in Yakuza 4, the sworn brother of Majima himself, and a very prolific Tojo clan member. Obviously served multiple years in prison for the murders of, wrongfully accused for the murders of a rivaling family. And we start out about a year before, right after the events of Yakuza 4. We have Sajima and Majima sitting down at a restaurant eating what is, quote, Sajima's last meal because he is going back to prison through his own volition. He has agreed to return to prison, and I don't exactly know why. He's going to prison for what? For assault?
Is it only assault?
Is it assault? Because he's going for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what the actual charges were, but he's wanting to do this to atone for his transgressions. He's a changed man. And B, to basically prove to the Tojo clan that he is willing to do the time needed so that when he gets out, he will become a major captain in the Tojo clan. And it's almost like a done deal kind of thing. And Majima is being Majima for the most part, but there's a little difference here. We go to the batting cages, meet up with him at the batting cages.
Yeah, his favorite place.
Majima's favorite place. And it shows Majima basically he's missing balls is coming toward him and stuff like that. And it's kind of alluded to that Majima's not got a lot left in him anymore.
Which is interesting because it really parallels all of Kiryu's chapter where everybody was a little bit lost or trying to come to terms with changes. So, like, this point, I'm like, oh, wow, this game really has a sentiment to it.
Yeah. Like, Majima even himself says that I'm getting old. And I don't know if I'm cut out for this business anymore. And, of course, Majima still wants us to prove ourselves. So instead of fighting him, though, we end up fighting a whole bunch of his family underlings. But yeah, we go to prison. And holy crap, we stay there for a long time.
Yeah, I hadn't played, like I kind of got to chapter 2 and then put it down and picked it back up. So when we got to prison, I'm like, all right, that's chapter 1 down. And I didn't realize that was all just like the intro to Sajima's chapter.
Yeah. So, we spent a good amount of time in prison here. And honestly, not much is taking place. It is a lot of just wasting time, I feel like. Now, there are a few things that end up happening that do have bearing on the story. The first one being is his cellmate. So, they don't necessarily have a traditional cell like you would see in the United States. They have what looks like an apartment room.
Yeah,
right?
if I've seen this before elsewhere, I guess it never really dawned on me if that's what it's generally like. It was definitely a bit more communal. Like, they have a little table in there to sit at and play cards at.
Yeah, yeah. So, Sajima has 3 basically cellmates. I do not know 2 of their names. That's okay, because they are not that big of a deal. There is one guy in particular who is a big deal.
Baba-chan.
His name, Baba. Baba has been in there for 10 years for killing a Yakuza member. A long time ago, he was kind of a rookie to the Yakuza scene. And to prove his loyalty to the Yakuza, he ended up killing somebody from a rival gang and then going to prison for it. Now, he is getting close to being released on parole. In fact, I think in that week, I think we're as long as we're in prison, I think it only lasts like from the beginning of the prison to the end of the prison is only like a week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
2 weeks, something like that.
There's a fair number of assaults that happen in those 2 weeks, but yeah, I think it's pretty quick.
Definitely. And I can't remember the name of what's the family that he was with, Baba was with?
Kit Kat?
Kit Kat?
Kitakata, I think.
Kitakata family, which is a kind of it's not a very big family. It's a small family, as far as it goes. But I think it is a independent family. It's not part of the Tojo clan or the Omni Alliance or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And if the Tojo clan was out trying to contact lots of small independent families, there's certainly a link there to Kiryu's chapter.
Yeah, and that definitely probably what they're doing. Which we'll get into. But there's 2 other roommates, one or cellmates. The other one is, come to find out, was a ex-cop, ex-police detective who, he was kind of a dirty cop.
Yeah, interesting, like, he didn't really seem that ashamed, but didn't really hide it, and he was just like, yeah, I think I was a good cop, and I just, there was a lot of temptation, and I slipped. He didn't seem. I didn't get the sense that he was like a lifelong dirty cop, or that he was all that corrupt. He kind of sounded like he's like, yeah, I made a mistake.
Yeah, he stuck his hand in the pot and got caught.
Yep.
And then there's also a world-class thief, apparently. So a guy who went by everybody thought he was just a businessman. But during his time going out for business, he would just go and just rob people blind from small things to like fine art. Like he was like a well-known like burglar who just stole things. He's like a kleptomaniac. And it was unsuspecting because he's like an older man who you'd think would be somebody's grandpa.
Yeah, it's a burgling everybody.
Yep. But those are the cellmates.
And that was interesting because he also had a similar, I just wanted to turn myself in. Didn't he say he walked right up to prison and turned himself in?
He did. He did because his wife left him. His wife left him because he was too busy, chasing the next big score than paying attention to his wife.
Yeah.
And after his wife left, he's like, well, I don't have anything else to live for. So
and this is
put
my
me in
fault.
jail. Yeah. But yeah, so one thing to note here is that Sajima has been the model prisoner, and there's a reason for that. You get out on good behavior, and he's trying his best not to extend his prison time. That means no getting into fights, no starting any ruckus, anything like that. He has been nothing but yes sir, no sir the entire time he's been there. Now, that doesn't sit very well with some other prisoners, particularly One-Eyed Willie. I don't know what his name is.
Kugahara?
Kugahara. Kugahara is a Yakuza member. I don't know what family he is with.
Yeah.
But
isn't he from the Kitakata family?
He may be.
I thought he was, because I thought that whole gang was the Kitakata family.
It may be. But this guy regularly takes Sajima and along with like his men, take him and beat the living crap out of him. And for months now, Sajima has endured the beatings and never laid a finger on anybody.
Yeah, that's
because
wild.
he is determined to get out on good behavior, and he is hiding the fact that he's getting beat up. So what ends up happening is Baba is about to get released after 10 years. But Baba feels like, I'm not worthy of leaving. I have nowhere to go once I get out. I was 20 years old when I came into prison. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a kid. Now even the Yakuza family has nothing to do with me. I can't go back to them. I have nothing on the outside.
It's very
and so
Shawshank.
Yeah, and so, well, he's very determined. He's very determined. I am just gonna, like, thanks but no thanks to my appeal.
This is my life now.
Yeah. And Sajima has taken upon himself to be like, no, you need to do this. You need to get out of here. So, a lot of things happen. The first thing is, after convincing Baba that he should take his appeal and should be released, when he goes to tell them that he is going to take his appeal, he gets framed for a stabbing. So one of One-Eyed Willie's guys gets stabbed in the leg with a wood carving pick.
Yeah. And
they blame it on Baba. Well, here comes the guards. The guards see that. They take Baba away. And so it's on Sajima and his cellmates to prove Baba's innocence.
Luckily, his cellmate was an ex-detective, so he knows all about evidence gathering and how to prove it.
His other cellmate was really good at stealing stuff.
Yeah, these two things both come in handy.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I kind of like the cellmates he has. And I guess in some ways they kind of tied what you're doing into their background. So I feel like on paper the section works really well. But I felt like a lot of the time was, I mean, I guess just walking around talking to people, walking around the yard. I didn't feel like, I felt like it was a very superficial way to interact with the cellmates. But I mean, that being said, I don't even know what else would have been better, because you do get their story. You do, the gameplay even ties in with it. You do get downtime. You know, there's a fair number of shots of them like in their sleeping bags talking as they're nodding off to sleep. So, I mean, you actually do spend a fair amount of time with these guys. I don't know. I kind of liked it. It just, for how like tragic and how detailed their stories are, there was never one of those like emotional moments really for me.
Yeah. You're still chasing the moment with Nishiki and Kiryu, where Nishiki's going to shoot Kiryu because he knows what he's going to endure. You're never going to get that.
Never going to get that. There was a lot of opportunity here, though. I mean, there's a lot of characters set up with, tragic backstories. I mean, that could have happened. Not that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't really expect that to happen. I don't want my emotions toyed with that often, I guess. But I just felt like they put enough time into their characters just to not really do much with them in the end.
Yeah. Which we may get that in Yakuza 6. Who knows? But
yeah.
Truth be told, aside from walking around and talking to the same people over and over again, trying to gather intel and stuff like that, I didn't mind this section. I did like interacting with the guys. I also didn't mind the dream sequences where, the ex-detective is describing like what life was on the outside as a cop kind of thing.
Yeah, I liked a few things about that. Actually, I thought that was reasonably well done.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, let's go out for a night on the town. How? Just use your imagination, and then you're playing in the city, walking around, going on a date, going to a cabaret club, and then he's taking down these Chinese like mafia guys and stuff like that, and it was fun because it was breaking the fourth wall, and they were having a lot of fun with it. Yeah. And I didn't mind that kind of stuff. Honestly, I feel like what left a bad taste in my mouth is the section after this. But yeah, so we're able to prove Baba's innocence. Along with that, it's now time for our appeal, Sajima's appeal. And for some reason, according to the warden, it was denied. And he's like, what? I've been a model freaking prisoner here this entire time. And they're like, we're going to appeal this and look and see what's going on. So it's one thing I do like about it is that they're showing the prison guards. They're not bad guys either. Like they're like, okay, this doesn't sound right. We're going to look into this.
Yeah.
If it really does feel like they're there for rehabilitation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except for Kosaka, like I guess he's the assistant warden.
Yeah, the assistant warden's a douchebag.
And his statements that even though you're not getting into fights, you're allowing fights to happen, therefore you're still a troublemaker, even if you don't fight back. So I don't like you.
Yeah. But, so yeah, they, were trying to figure out, okay, well, why was my, appeal denied? And when we go back to our cell, we get the newspaper. Newspaper has a headline there saying a major Yakuza member has been found dead in the local mountains of Tokyo. A Yakuza member known as Goro Majima.
Heard that name before.
And Sajima, when he reads this, kind of goes a little nuts. Just a little bit. And he's like, okay, it's official. I need to get the hell out of here. I need to know who killed Majima and why. So, at that time, he decides... I take that back. So, One-Eyed Willie starts antagonizing him again. And this was after he found out Majima was dead. And he decides to beat the living crap out of him.
Yeah, well, isn't it because of what happens to Baba getting framed or getting beaten? I don't remember if it was Baba or one of the other cellmates that actually gets attacked this time, and he's like, "That's it. I can handle these beatings, but nobody else can." And you've crossed the line.
Yeah. And gets thrown into solitary, but when he gets when he gets put into solitary, the warden comes and visits him and is like, so we're going to get you out of here. You're like, what do you mean? We're going to do a prison break. So we've done this before. So we're going to, and they've set it up. They said, all right, tonight you're going to be able to go. You and Baba are going to get out of here. There's obviously something going on. Somebody's pulling strings here. And what's happening here is not right. So we've set up a snowmobile outside of the prison where you can make your escape. So, of course, that night, Sajima and Baba go out to escape. We got to beat up a bunch of dudes. So, around that same time, they also brought in a bunch of Yakuza members, got transferred to this prison. What a coincidence. Mm. And so we got to fight all those guys. Unfortunately, the warden also gets shot. And we're having to run at this point. So we're trying to escape through the prison, fighting a bunch of Yakuza guys. And then One-Eyed Willie shows back up. Got to have a boss fight with him. And after beating him, he's got a gun. He's going to shoot us, or he's going to shoot Baba, I think. And then out of nowhere, bam, gets shot, killed. The warden was not dead. Warden came back.
Go figure. Someone was shot and then didn't die.
Yeah, somebody got shot and didn't die.
Just had enough time to get off one last shot of their own.
So we have to. We got to run. We got to go. So we jump on the snowmobile, Sajima and Baba, and we have to do a really weird section where other Yakuza are chasing us on snowmobiles.
Is that who it is? And where did they get their snowmobiles?
That's a good question. But the Yakuza, because I remember seeing something saying, hey, they didn't finish the job. Go after them. Because it's not cops chasing after us.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with this section. I was just like, wow, this is a little bit too long for my taste.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated the attempt to spice up the action, given that we've been in the prison so long. And I kind of felt like that's what the imagination sequences were as well. Like, in my mind, they were like this section just dragged on too long, and they're like, oh, let's break it up with some street walking again. That being said, I did enjoy those imagination sections as well. I mean, they were a nice change of pace. Sure. I thought they were kind of fun, kind of easy. I like the fact that you can imagine that they would want to do something like this. You know, if you're stuck behind bars, I imagine you take any mental escape you can.
Yeah.
And then I also like the idea that because he was telling his story, he might, a lot of what happened may have been embellishments.
Yeah.
And I like how he gets called out for that, and he's like, it doesn't matter. So all that I kind of like. Yeah, in this section, it felt like a throwback to me. I don't know. It felt... I can't even think of the game, but I feel like there's other games where you make an escape, and I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm thinking of a movie, but it definitely felt it was kind of easy, but yeah, I think basically just the fact that it was a change of pace was the best part, but definitely a bit too long. I don't know. Yeah, it's for me. It's where this game has kind of changed tone a lot. I mean, the whole first chapter, Kiryu's chapter, and then the beginning of this chapter had a bit of this somber tone where the intent was more on that reflection. From this point on, I mean, this whole section feels like the opposite, where they're trying to globetrot a little bit. You're all over the place. You're in new scenarios where we've never been in Yakuza. It just felt like they kind of went from one thing to the other without any of that sense of kind of direction.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole next section is almost entirely just a detour.
I have never in my life seen this. So I've never played this game. I didn't know this was even in the game. And I was just like, what are we doing? What?
Yeah. Felt like I was playing the Last of Us here for a minute.
I could not figure it out. But so before we get there, while we're on the snowmobile, we beat our pursuers, but unfortunately we wreck the snowmobile. We end up getting separated with Baba, and we have a boss fight with a bear. We actually fight a giant bear.
Punch it in the face.
We punch the bear in the face. And, the bear is obviously a bigger match for us than what we thought, because after the fight, the bear gets chased off by a hunter in the woods. So I should say it's very snowy where we're at. It's close to Christmas time. It's very snowy. I think we're up in the mountainous area in the forest. And there's a hunter that comes and rescues Sajima. Sajima gets injured by the bear and brings him back to his little kind of cabin in the woods. And Sajima wakes up. He's inside the cabin, and the hunter there, that guy's name, I couldn't even tell you how to pronounce it. But I'll just call him the hunter. Yeah. But the hunter is very stoic, kind of quiet, and he's like, you need to rest up. You need to get your strength. You got attacked by it's like a legendary bear that they've been chasing for like 20 years or 10 years. And kind of find out, Sajima is not just in a cabin. He is in like a little small, like snowy village out in the woods.
Which this part almost felt like an RPG, like we were on some kind of quest here.
Yeah. And this village, populated by probably about 15 people.
Yeah.
Don't have much contact with the outside world. They are just hunters.
Luckily, they don't get the news.
Yeah. And for some reason, the guy that they're with, the guy who rescued us, he's only been there for 10 years, which apparently to them is not a long time. He's an outsider. They still consider him an outsider. And they tell Sajima, you might not want to associate with that guy. And there's this whole long thing of how this guy showed up, and apparently he came with another guy. That guy died from the giant bear, and he's been here in this village trying to hunt that bear for the past 10 years.
That's one elusive bear.
Yeah. And this is side quest the game here, man.
Yeah, this whole thing is just a side quest, right? And they force you to play through it.
Yeah, I could not figure. I was like, "What is this?" Like, I cannot believe this is actually in a Yakuza game. So, you for 2 hours, like, and you can do more of it. That's the thing. But for 2 hours, you're in this village learning about the people and the hunter. You go out on hunting expeditions. The first hunting expedition, you find Baba. Baba's heavily injured, and they take him back to the village with the hunter himself. He stays there, and Sajima says, well, you guys have given me so much, I want to give back to you. So you decide to go hunting. So you learn how to hunt, and you learn how to trap animals. You get a gun, and you go around shooting animals.
Yeah, shoot deer right in the face.
Shoot deer right in the face with a shotgun.
Or preserve that meat.
Yeah. he wants to get meat for the village because they've been so kind to him. And then eventually they say, "Oh, the roads have opened back up. Do you want to go back to the city?" And I said, "Yes."
I think I did whatever the next optional section was. Did you do the trapping of rabbits?
Yes, that's forced. You have to do that.
That part's still forced. I think I went back up one time, though, after I had the option not to. I didn't do very much, and then I said, I don't know how long this goes on. There's clearly a storyline here, but let's see if I can come back and do this later. So then, as you're about to leave, it says, well, you can always come back and finish this up later. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. I will never come back and finish it. I just, I have no need for that because it's slow. You have to move in the snow. It's slow moving. Your health drains every time you're out in the snow because it's cold outside. I was just like, this is like a weird, like, mini game thing that really should not be forced on you.
Yeah. I am curious about the whole Okudera versus the bear story. I would love to go back and play it, but I just wasn't at a point where I wanted to be forced to do it. This is the kind of thing that I would do once I finish the game. I'm like, all right, let me finish a couple more things up, and then I'll put it away.
Yeah, it's definitely a sub story that excuse me, is more involved. And I know there's a couple of trophies or achievements tied to it, I believe.
Mm.
So, I mean, you can totally, I made a save before going to the city. I will never go back to it. Yeah, I will never go back to it. Who am I kidding? But, I went back to the city. So so Sajima and Baba make their way to the city. What city is this again?
Sumino? Or
Suino?
What's the name of it?
Yakuza 5 City.
Sujimino?
But, yeah. And, so order of business is find out who had Majima killed. The most obvious one would be, since the Tojo clan has been trying to recruit smaller families to basically combat the Omni Alliance, they're thinking maybe it was the family that runs this town. So we probably need to talk to the head honcho of the family. In fact, Majima went and talked to him. We do know that for certain. So, how do we reach the patriarch? Well, first order of business is finding a place to hide out, because as soon as we get into town, there's this gigantic, fucking Jumbo-chan talking about, hey, Sajima is an escaped convict, and he is probably running around the city somewhere.
Yeah, if you see this man.
Yeah, call the police. So we're having to avoid both police and try to be as inconspicuous as possible. But Baba says he remembers a old hideout that they used to use. And to me, that seems a little fishy. I'm just like, 10 years ago? A lot can change in 10 years, boss.
Yeah.
And and it's just sitting there. Nobody's ever used it or vacant. It's just vacant. But we make it to the place and we start to devise a plan. So obviously we got to figure out how do we figure out a way to meet with the patriarch of the family. That guy's name was... It's the name of the family, right?
Yeah.
What was it again?
Kitakata.
Kitakata.
Although I could not refer to it as Kit Kat family.
Kit Kat family.
But yeah, this whole section of getting to the hideout wasn't too hard. I like the fact that even though there's cops around, they can't find you. Because basically as soon as you see cops, he's like, oh, I better walk the other direction. So, it's not like it's not like all of the other street fights where you're accidentally going to walk in front of them and trigger them and then they're going to start chasing you and you have to keep escaping them. That would have made this whole chapter, this whole chapter 4, way more annoying.
Yeah. I made an observation about this. So far in the entire Yakuza series, we have never fought a police officer. We have fought prison guards.
Yeah.
But we have never fought actual beat cops.
Aside from, I guess, in a previous game, they were chasing you and you would throw them off if they got close to you.
Yeah.
You kind of evade.
That kind of thing.
Aggressive evasion, but not actual fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So, yeah. We got to figure out how to get in touch with this guy. Because obviously, he's our number one suspect when it comes to Majima. But we don't know where to find him. So, we got to check around town and see where some local hangouts are. Apparently, there is this bar that also houses a casino in it that a lot of the family goes to on the regular. We can't get into the casino. Everybody plays dumb. I don't know. There's no casino here. This is just a bar.
Yeah, they basically said you just have to bribe the bartender.
Yeah. And then there's a guy there who's like, oh, you want to get into the casino? Well, I know how to get into the casino, but you got to play me in pool or pay me 50,000 yen. And I was like, I'll play you in pool.
Yeah, I've got 14,000 yen, and I'm not going to get into enough street fights to get to 50,000.
Yeah. So, I played pool against this guy 3 times because I suck at pool, apparently.
Yeah, I also played against him 3 times and kicked myself because I had at least 1 or 2 easy shots I could have won on in the second game. And then he ended up winning, and I'm pretty sure he broke the rules, so that's bullshit.
How did he break the rules?
Well, I was playing 9-ball, and to be fair, I'm not 100% sure I know the rules of 9-ball. I thought you had to get them all in order. But he ended up ricocheting off of the 8-ball and then sinking the 9-ball, and then it was just he wins. But there was still the 8-ball on the table. So,
yeah, you're supposed to knock them all down first.
Yeah, I don't know if there's some kind of other rule where if you hit the 8-ball and the 9-ball goes in, or if you haven't yet fouled and the 9-ball goes in, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but the 8-ball never went in, so it was kind of bullshit that I lost that game.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. No, I just sucked at it, and he beat me. That's all it was to it for me.
I felt like they made it easier, too, because the very last game, we were on the 9-ball, and it still took me about 3 shots that maybe I could have made or should have made. And then every time he would go, I didn't give him an easy shot because I felt like he did make all the easy ones. And I just got somewhat lucky that all of the placements after my misses were bad enough that he also missed. And I think on my 4th try, basically the game was like, just put it in and you can win. And yeah, I wasn't great at it.
Yeah.
Although I didn't dislike it. I liked the ease of shifting between the Q view and the overhead view and trying to really line up my shots. Yeah. I felt like it wasn't too easy, but it also... I felt like I was roughly as good in the game as I am in real life, which is to say not very. but I could make some of them. I didn't feel like the game was getting in my way of playing pool. It's just that my decisions on what kind of shots I think I can make are maybe overly optimistic.
Sure.
But I thought that was good that I wasn't blaming the controller. I'm like, oh, this is exactly the shot I would have made, exactly the way I would have lined it up, and exactly the way I would have missed it in real life. So, seems true to form.
Well, there you go. But this is another wild goose chase, unfortunately. Because he tells us, you got to go talk to this homeless guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to get a pass to the casino. So we got to go find this homeless guy. Guess what? He's not on the map. Guess what I did? Looked at game facts. Then found him. And then he tells us we got to go to another place and give a password. We give a password, then we get the pass. Now we go to the casino.
And we're in the casino for all of 3 minutes.
3 minutes, dude. I'm just like, do these guys never turn around? Because we're standing behind them getting information. I don't know. This from here on felt like it was hardcore rushed.
Yeah. But then this whole section just feels like a long fetch quest anyway. So this suffers, I think, from what some of the early Yakuza suffered from, which was a little bit of weird, like, mission structures.
Yeah. But we get the information from them by eavesdropping, and then they turn around and see us, and we have to fight them. But basically, Kitakata himself is big friends with the I guess the governor of the city, or the mayor of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're having a big winter festival. Actually, it's happening in the next day, I think.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like a guest of honor. So he helped put in a lot of money for this festival and everything like that. So he's going to be a guest of honor there. Okay, cool. So we have an idea. Why don't we kidnap him at the opening ceremony of the festival, and we can corner him and ask him what's going on? So we have to stake out the place. We have to go back into town, stake out the area. Okay.
I like how Baba also tells us it's just a stupid idea. Like, that's just a ridiculous plan.
Yeah. I mean, we're screwed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it works, but we're screwed. The only thing we realize, and we go over there, and this is why I feel like it's rushed. We go over there, he looks around. Oh, there's a manhole cover. And that's it. Then you leave.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? That's not scoping out a place.
Yeah.
But
and then it's awkward also because then you do a bunch of things. You meet back up with Baba, and he's got an idea to use the manhole cover.
It's almost like we should have went together, right?
Yeah. Especially because at least once or twice here they say, "Oh, we can't go together; it'll look suspicious."
Yeah.
But it's not like when you arrived in town, they said, be on the lookout for these two people, where having these two people, pairs of people, is inherently more suspicious. You're only looking for Sajima, so you're really no more or less suspicious by having Baba around. I didn't really understand how that made them more suspicious. You all see that on movies, right? A guy and a child. So you're always looking for someone and a child, and that's always suspicious. Or a red van. I don't know. The whole logic here I thought was strange.
Yeah. So, yep. Next day, they're having their festival at the opening ceremony. And we use the manhole cover. Well, first we have to get to the place. And the Yakuza are already in droves looking for us. They know that we're there. and they know what we're up to.
And traversing the city was weird too. Like there were so many invisible walls. Like
yeah, they really don't want you not to use a crosswalk.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can use but it was really awkward because there was a lot of times where I needed to go someplace that was directly on the other side of the street. And I literally had to go all the way down the street, then cross, then go all the way back up the street.
Yep.
And
no jaywalking for the Yakuza.
Absolutely not. I mean, I did get dinged in Curious chapter for being a bad driver, so now I'm also a bad walker.
I did get hit by a car.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got hit by a car. Apparently there's an achievement for getting hit by a car too, because an achievement popped for me. Yeah, I was just crossing the street and a car just rammed me.
That's
I was like, holy crap, all right. But, yeah, so had to run the gauntlet, going through the back alleys. Got to avoid the cops. Got to avoid the Yakuza. The Yakuza are after us. We had to punch a bunch of Yakuza. We had to dress up as somebody. I used the Santa costume.
Yeah, me too.
Finally, we meet back up with Baba. And we use the manhole cover. We go through the sewers. And right there, he's sitting right there at the manhole cover. So when they're doing like I don't know what they are, Blue Angels, the jets. The jets are coming through the city and everybody's looking up. And while everybody's looking up, we grab him and pull him up under. Like ninja style.
Yeah, it'll always make me think of the Ninja Turtles movie.
It's Ninja Turtles, yeah. It's literally Ninja Turtles.
Remove the bells without making a sound.
Yeah, remove the bells without making a sound. Oh, that's right. But yeah, we kidnap him, bring him up under in the sewers, and he's like, "Well, I knew you were coming, so let's go and have a chat." And he's like, "Okay." So he takes us to a secret building that he just recently purchased
that not even his own men know about.
Not even his own men know about. And Baba's like, "All right, I'm going to go check out the place because I don't trust this guy." So he leaves. And Sajima's like, "So tell me what happened with Majima." He's like, "Well, I already know what you think you know, but I can tell you this. Me or any of my people did not kill Majima. We were going to do an alliance with the Tojo clan. Majima came and met with me. I told him I had to think it over. We met again. And when I was going to tell him that we were going to agree to the alliance when Majima told me, don't take this deal. Don't form this alliance." Why would he say that? Well, he said something about there's something going on. There's something afoot here, and he doesn't know what. But right now, we don't need to do this. It's almost like he was trying to protect me from falling into a trap. Okay. Well, what else did Majima say? He said he believes that somebody in the Tojo clan is setting people up. And who is that? And before he tells us who it was, he gets shot. Somebody from a window shoots him. A sniper. Oh crap. There's an assassin. So we have to chase after the assassin. We chase after him, do another one of those little chasing mini games. We finally corner him in a back alley, and it's revealed Baba. I mean, I saw this coming a mile away.
Yeah, especially right at the end when they won't show his face.
Yeah, or not even that. How many other characters have we interacted with throughout this entire section? 3?
Yeah.
It's not the hunter. I mean, who else could it be? So, yeah, it's none other than Baba. And Baba comes out and is like, yeah, this whole thing's been orchestrated. You going to prison, you being in prison for the exact amount of time that you have been, it's all been orchestrated. And he's like, what's the meaning of this? What's the point? And he's like, well, I can't tell you that.
Yeah. I like how he's like, I'd have to kill you. Moreover, I'd have to kill myself.
Yeah. But there's a specific reason why they wanted you in prison for this certain amount of time. Why did they delay your release? Why did they send me in there? Better yet, why did they send One-Eyed Willie in there? All of this was orchestrated to the T. And it was done by the Tojo clan. Okay, well, who was it? I'm not going to tell you that. Okay, I'll beat it out of you. So we have a fight with him. He wasn't that tricky, I don't think.
Yeah, not when they give you ample motorcycles and stuff around.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Sajima is that he is just a powerhouse. You give him a weapon and you're going to win. And his throws are really good. I unlocked a throw where he throws the person in the air upside down, and before they fall down and hit the ground, he clotheslines them. And I was like, ooh, that's a good one. But yeah, we beat the crap out of Baba. And I feel like there's like a mutual respect there, right?
Yeah.
Because Baba pulls out a gun. He's going to shoot him. And then he doesn't want to shoot him.
Yeah, and there's definitely that wavering of, you know, my boss, who shall not be named, told me to kill you, but also I have an affinity to you for what you did for me.
So, yeah. Baba's like, I can't tell you now who's orchestrating this, but I will in due time. You need to let me go. So Sajima lets him go. He runs off. While we're sitting there in the alley, the police show up. You're under arrest. And with the police is also that detective that Kiryu's been talking to. He's kind of like the centerpiece of this whole thing. And he's going to be transporting us. So we're in the back of a, I don't know, paddy wagon at this point, being transported, or what we think to prison or jail. But he wants to have a discussion with us. And he's like, so I know a lot more than what you think you know. So obviously the Tojo clan is reaching out to all these families to form an alliance to go against the Omni Alliance. Do you know why they're doing this? Of course, Sajima is not answering any questions. Okay. Well, what about Majima? I'm sure you've heard by now that Majima has been killed, right? And I'm pretty sure the Yakuza that you've just recently talked to said that they had nothing to do with it, right? We have reason to believe that the Tojo clan has everything to do with this. We also have reason to believe that Majima is not really dead. And of course, that kind of sparks interest in Sajima. He's like, so why are you telling me all this? I'm telling you all this because you have a little bit more of a purpose that we need your help with. So we're not actually going to jail right now. We're actually going to take you to Tokyo. And you're going to be our inside man. I'm okay with this. In fact, I wish it would continue from here with him.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it's finally gearing up a little bit. It's no longer side quests. But I know we're switching to a different character after this.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to mention that. When they first switched characters in the previous game, I was okay with it as a change of pace.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of having to level up every character, find a new hideout with every character, get to this point where the story is finally starting with Sajima and switch characters. I mean, I guess you want the game to leave you on a cliffhanger. It's probably best where every section is a section you want to get back to. That's probably the mark of a good game. But I just feel like between some of the extra repetition for the multiple characters and the inability to bounce back and forth, I mean, maybe I just always have Yakuza 0 stuck in my head because I'm like, the way that they went back and forth between characters just kept elevating. Each half elevated the other half. That's how I felt about the Persona games. When I was in the tower, I was loving it. Then I would leave. I would get back to, the outside section, and you kind of have that back and forth where if it's well done, every section leaves you in a point where you want to get back to it. So you might want to rush through the next section, but then that's so good you want to rush to get back to that. And that's a really good place to be. Here, it's almost like you just can't make that kind of progress because you're just hitting reset 4 times throughout the game.
Yeah. The problem is like the first hour or two of each section is almost like a tutorial.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, well, here's how you can do this. And you now have access to this hideout. And, oh, go talk to this person because this is how they're going to interact with you. And it feels like there's 4 times in this game you're going to have introductions. And I'm just like, it brings the pacing to a crawl.
Yeah, agreed.
And I totally get what you're saying, and that's actually how I feel about it too. This section was 80% boring, 20% okay.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't awful, but it also was just such a detour from what I was liking about the first chapter that it took a while even to kind of adjust to that.
Yeah. I'm getting the feeling that Yakuza 6 will be a good return to form. I feel like me and you will like Yakuza 6 probably not as much as 0, but either as good as or slightly less than 0. I think 6 will be probably one of our favorites.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because I'm always of the mind that even like a down entry in a series can be redeemed by subsequent entries. So, I'm really happy just the fact that we have Sajima back. Like, I like that consistency game to game. I like where I really feel more enmeshed in the lives and the drama of it because you're seeing things happen and unfold over essentially a lifetime for Kiryu. But bringing back these returning characters and having them be playable again and having the repercussions of one game go into the next, I love all of that. So even if some of these entries aren't as good, I'll be able to sugarcoat my memories if Sajima's storyline if he's even a part of Yakuza 6. I just think that if that ties things together well, it'll make me look more fondly on like this section where I don't feel overly positive about it at the moment, but it's still more time with Sajima, which could pay off later.
Yeah, and I think it will because I remember Jay saying after he finished Yakuza 6, he's like, "This is the perfect ending to Yakuza." He was like, "This is the ending to Kiryu's story," and he runs into every single person. And it's like a good, send off for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's going to be good. We do have an email, and it comes from Laura, Listener Laura. I wonder who that could be. Drew, you are super cute and funny. Well, thank you. Me, Tiger, and Bert are so thankful for you. I hope you and Matt are enjoying Yakuza 5. Okay. Matt and Drew, of the 6 Yakuza games so far, which has been your favorite? Well, I think we already said it, but I think 0 was definitely both of our favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
She said, in my personal opinion, the Snow Village part of Yakuza 5 was very boring. P.S. I like your new shoes. Love always, Laura. Well, thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Thank you for that email.
Was it a recent email?
It was an email sent at 8:02 tonight. So it had to have been recent because I got my new shoes today. For those who don't know, that is my wife. But yeah, as far as Yakuza goes, so if obviously we're still knee deep in Yakuza 5, but if you had to rank them right now, what would be your least favorite Yakuza?
Least favorite.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Which one?
That's a good question.
A 4 for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 was just riddled with a whole bunch of boring stuff. I did not care about the cop. I still kind of don't care about the broker. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, probably 4. I think for me the runner-up is 1, just because it felt so broken.
It's rough.
Yeah, so rough on the structure and so repetitive. Probably still 4, but to me, those are the 2 weakest. Yeah,
definitely. Got Zero's masterclass. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, that was just such a surprise. I mean, you had been talking up Yakuza, and then it's funny because that's not where you started, obviously.
No.
But yeah, just kind of crazy for me to. I mean, I was interested in it. I was intrigued by it, and knowing that it was a full series, I wanted to get into it, and then just kind of floored because even wanting to play it, I didn't expect it to be as impactful as it was.
Yeah. 2's really solid too, though. I like 2.
Yeah, I like 2. 2's my second favorite.
I cannot wait to get back to that engine. Oh my god, I can't wait to get back to that engine. That engine's so good.
But that's also why some of these games with multiple protagonists feel a little bit rough, because you don't have as much time to explore the combat. I feel like if there's one thing that's suffered from the multiple viewpoints, it's been the combat, because again, you're resetting every time, so you don't really get some of the advanced moves and combos. Maybe that wasn't even really possible, or never would have been possible at this point, but certainly they don't give you the option to explore it.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is when we get to Like a Dragon, all of your party members are there with you. So that's the goal. I want to get to Like a Dragon, because Like a Dragon looks like it's going to be fun as hell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's going to be it for this week. If you would like to send an email, it is drew@ztgd.com. You can also tweet to us. I am at DMLFury. Matt is at REMGS, and the podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. We are going to be taking a week off. I am going on vacation, so I will be soaking up the sun at the beach. But I will try to squeeze in some Yakuza. I am pulling something very bad. I am bringing my Xbox to the beach with me. Because I want to.
It's vacation. You should get to do what you want to do on a vacation.
This is very true. No, I'm not going to be playing a lot of it, but I will jump into Yakuza a little bit. I'm going to try to get some of it in, so that way we can record the week I come back. So, but yeah, we're gonna take a week off there. We're still trying to narrow down what the next game's going to be. Anthony's going to be joining us for the next one. I'm letting Matt and Anthony kind of decide. I'm just taking a seat back and letting them discuss. I'm down for anything. I know that Dustin suggested Live a Live as a Phoenix Down game. The remake is coming out this month. It is a game that I have been eyeing for a very long time. It was a Japan exclusive, Japan only release on the Super Nintendo, and is getting a remake on the Switch in the style of like Octopath Traveler. And I am very, very excited for that game. I don't know when we'll get to it. I did suggest that to Anthony, and he said, let's do something that doesn't cost, $60. So I'm letting them discuss that. Live a Live is definitely a good choice, and I if anything, I will definitely be playing it sooner or later. Because that is one game I've known about for years, and I've always wanted to try, but I'm not bothering with trying to play a Japanese game. So,
yeah.
This will be the first time you can play it in North America. Yeah, that's it for us. I appreciate everybody listening. Until next time, I am Drew.
And I'm Matt.
And we are out of here. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with the continuation of Yakuza 5.